Rolls Royce. How does that? How, even if you do have the money, the fact that you know that people have their eyes on those who lead them and believe that most of the funds that should be put towards development has been taken out of the cookie jar. The fact that they know that the symbolism of you doing that is off-putting. Look at what has been ascribed to a former governor, estate, university. All this, somebody will come up with an argument to say, oh, he was a rich man. He was a rich man before he was. Tell me a story. Yesterday I was watching a movie. Part of the movie they had to shoot part of it in the Southeast, and then the statues of Mandela, Awo, and no, not Awo, Mandela, and so on that Okorocha put up there.
Yeah.
Some statues wasting on money and resources. White people are suffering. Have they paid their pensioners? Have they made school attractive to their people? What health facilities have they put down? These are the issues they need to look at. It's not that they do no more sit at home and trying to bring substance. And whether they like it or not, ultimately you have to dialogue with these guys. And you have to they will come with a shopping list. And you have to, you have to agree on which of them you meet. Unfortunately, the genie is out of the bottle. Various reasons have not crept into it. For some people, it has become a very good commercial enterprise. But you cost it from the onset. Both at state, local government, name it. And like I said, Sheriff, it is not peculiar to the Southeast. It is not peculiar to the Southeast. In the Southwest, it's the same. When people talk about agitation for a Yoruba nation, I sit back and say to myself, the major problem of the Southeast is not any Hausa Fulani person, it's the Yoruba people leaders themselves. We need to tell ourselves the home truth.
As the Southwest.
It's the Southwest. In Lagos, is it an Hausa Fulani that collects 15% of the taxes? Is it an Hausa Fulani that has cornered all the assets of the state and turned it into private enterprise in full glare of the people? The North is even worse. You've had the North being in power for so long, but very little development. And then you have loads. Look, you have loads and loads and loads of millionaires, but very little enterprise to show for it, except for that just that one man who our number one businessman in the country, who has made at the very least employment available for thousands of people. So let's get this right. It's time to sit down and tell ourselves some home truths. So they met yesterday and they said no more sit at home. They said they will engage the federal government for amicable settlement of all issues. It's convenient for them to pretend to make it look as if it's the federal government that is only responsible. No, a lot of the blame goes to them. So when you say you are going to talk to the federal government, you need to talk to yourselves. You need to talk to yourselves. Where are your children? How many of them are in school? Have you encouraged them? You need to talk to your elites. Your elites have a whatever of winner takes all. You have gotten the whole country to a point where nobody cares how you got it. Is that you got it? Everybody now worships money. It's far-reaching. What you have, Sheriff, in the north, in the south, in the west, what you have is a quiet revolution in the making. Many people believe that revolution means that someday some people will come up, shoot in the air, wear berets and Fidel Castro cigars and so on and so forth. Those were in the 40s and 50s. What you have at now, look at the mind of... Look, in some places where Boko Haram occupied in the north, in between you will look through certain things and then discover that it appears as if those who are resident in those areas sometimes might also be complicit. They might be happy to have them around.
There have been reports of some areas where the bandits don't live inside the forest. They live amongst the people. So the people know them.
They know them.
Because the bandits, according to that report, even provide employment for these people.
Yes. So it's time we sat down. And you see, the problem with Nigeria is not any political structure. That's for the politicians. The problem with Nigeria, first and foremost, is we need to talk to ourselves about, governance, setting the right examples. Our elite are far ahead of the common man. The distance is too wide. Our political leaders even worse. As we speak, we keep talking about the plight of pensioners, the plight of this, the plight of that. Look at what the members of the National Assembly, look at what they are taking home. I mean, let's face it. Let's be honest with ourselves. But so, anyway, they have met. The usual Jojo is going on. The story here says that a DSS operative was shot in Imo. And the army says that will deny iPod bandits of freedom of action in Abia. And then an American academic, Ivan Shinan, I don't know what his relevance is, that's just one person anyway. He says designate IPOB as a terrorist organization. I'm a bit reluctant to do that. In the sense that there's what we call in history cause and reaction.
Right.
Okay, fine. Some people have turned it into a commercial enterprise, but then as a whole, anyway, there's a saying that says that one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. I mean, so when you have that at the back of your head, so that's where we are. The police have said that Imo remains safe and secure. So that's where we are today. That's where we are this morning. We will call. We'll also call on IPOB, to make sure that in trying to prove their point, the people don't suffer. If you tell people to stay at home for 1 month, I mean, what's happen? There's so many people live on a daily stipend.
Yeah,
they can go out even to beg.
Even the Monday own self, people are still.
The Monday own is bad enough. Even if it's those who go out to beg by the roadside. So I'd like IPOB to see if they can change their strategy, whatever point they're trying to make, if they can change their strategy to make sure that they don't add to the sufferings of their people.
Which is very vital. Let's go pick up page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. Southeast killings. There are over 30 separatist groups in Southeast. There's another one here inside page 33. Southeast killings. Okay, it's a continuation of that yes. report.
This story was yesterday, actually. Abaribe was on channel.
Okay.
And he made front page lead today, and the interview was extensive. We don't have the time. It'll end up in this studio, most likely, pretty soon. And he did a thorough. How do I put it? He gave a thorough briefing of the mind of his people. Do you get what I'm saying? He gave a thorough of the mind, what their thinking is. And I'd ask you to find time to read all this because it's about 3 pages. Part of what he said is that he lamented that the people of the Southeast have been grossly marginalized and unfairly treated by the APC government. I don't think it was much different under the PDP government, except for the fact that, of course, politically they benefited, but the people. There must be a distinction between politicians who keep talking about marginalization and then the people.
Right.
Under the PDP, the leaders still marginalize the people. Okay, but of course he wouldn't say that. Remember that it was Abaribe that stood shorty for Nnamdi Kanu.
That's right.
And so he was asked if he was a supporter of IPOB, and this is what he said. And I quote: he said, "I am a supporter of the cries of our people against injustice. I stand with my people." That's what he said. He didn't say categorically yes, but he says, "I stand with our people." And he says that one of the biggest problems that the media also has is that they tag everything IPOB in the Southeast. And then he now says that there are 30 different separatist groups. You have IPOB, you have MASOB, and so on and so forth. He then asks the question. He then says, why we are having separatist agitations everywhere in the country is that some people are unable to manage our diversity. And he says that, furthermore, the senator said the APC can produce an Igbo president in 2023, adding that only his own party, the PDP, can do so. I don't know what he means by that. Now, he says that, okay, could you have an Igbo president at all in 2023? Abaribe said, the man who the shoe pinches know where it hurts. The Igbo are the people in Nigeria who make the conscious efforts of settling anywhere else without hurting their hosts. But he doesn't say categorically whether he would want to run. He says here, Abaribe said that an Igbo president is ripe in 2023. We think that the party called APC is not set up to manage, and so on and so forth. What I suspect very strongly, I went to university with this gentleman.
Okay.
What I suspect very strongly is that most likely he might want to be running on the PDP ticket, or he might be the forebearer of somebody who is running from the east. Whatever it is, I think it's time those who want to run come out. Nigeria needs to look up to a Moses. Nigeria needs a Moses now. It's not when you think that you are closer to the promised land that you galvanize your people. Anybody who wants to run for presidency, now is the time for us to know you. You're not going to come and tell us about 6 months from now that your people called on you, and we don't want anybody to call on anybody. Nigeria now needs a competent driver who is sure of himself. Somebody who would be saying that, look, I will run for election. If you don't vote for me, fine. We need it. All these insinuations and whatever, and all these insinuations that you have, and that is why I respect Doyin Okukwe. There's a story here about Doyin Okukwe wanting to run in 2023. Sorry, Cherry,
it's okay.
I've scattered your papers, but that's you spare me. The story says 2023, Doyin Okukwe declares presidential ambition. I respect the gentleman. That is the kind of leader that we need. It's been rumored very strongly that Oshibajo wants to run. He needs to come out now. If he wants to run, he should say so. If he doesn't want to run, let's stop the insinuations. Posters showing up here and there and you denying them. All those tactics have gone. That is why Awolowo, one of the reasons why Awolowo was respected is from day one, he made it very clear that he wants to run and that he has what it takes. That is the kind of presidential candidate we're looking forward to in 2023.
But you know, this thing is also a business venture for some politicians and some activists who will come out early enough to declare that they want to run for presidency, waiting for the highest bidder.
Well, it means you're not ready. You see,
I'm just saying that somebody declaring early doesn't really mean that the person could be serious for wanting to run for a public office.
What it does, actually, Nigeria is looking for a hungry, competent person. Of course, the person has to be competent.
Yeah.
I know people will put their noses up in the air when they hear certain names, yes, but we need a Moses right now. Nigeria needs a rallying point. A competent one, though. And I'm saying that for those who are competent, now is the time for you to come out and declare to your people, these tactics of my people, nobody is calling on anybody. Everybody, they bear in Papa name. Nobody is calling anybody. Come out and say, look, this is what I want to do. I have my program. I'm ready. This is what I've done. If the people don't, you must have that confidence that if the people don't want you, so be it.
So be it.
You must be able to show that I can walk away from this thing. Look at our man in Lagos, not this one, no, the one before this one. He called the bluff when the party said he wasn't going to go because he wasn't going to dance to their tune in full.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
And he called their bluff, but he still got it. Nigeria needs a Moses. People are completely disillusioned with the leadership of this country. Most people are disillusioned with it. Most people are people are not happy. They don't know where to go. And you see, that lack of leadership, it is what sometimes leads to all these various separatist groups emerging from nowhere. And some of these groups are not going to lead you anywhere anyway. That is what people should understand. So Nigeria needs a rallying point. It could be from the APC, it could be from the PDP, it could be a one-man riot squad. But Nigeria needs somebody that they can look up to say that, okay, this is the rallying point. This is going to be Moses, a competent person like that. So, Abaribe, I beg, if you want to run, talk. You know, some of these old tactics, there's a vacuum, and you can take advantage. It can make you ahead of the pack.
Yeah.
People will come and say, "Oh, political something declares that you don't believe your." No. You need to gauge the mood of the people at this particular time. So to Doyin Okukwe, I thank you so much. I mean, if anything at all, I know he might not stand much of a chance, but if anything, he will up the ante. And the story here says that he has declared his intention to contest the next, and that he made this one in a statement issued personally by him to newsmen on Tuesday, October 5. And he says, I believe I have the knowledge, the requisite national political experience, and intellectual capacity and wisdom to halt, blah, blah, he runs all that on. And he says, I want to run a government which for the first time will focus on making the life, well-being, and safety of the poor and needy priority. Dr. Okupe, can we please see the document you want, that you've put together? Can we see the Marshall Plan that you've put together to get us out of this? The earlier we begin to study it, the easier it will make for us to educate our people on what you do mean. But I wish him all the best, and I thank him, for anything. I know it doesn't stand much of a chance. I'm a realist, but he will up the ante. He will set everybody on their toes.
All right. Let's move on to page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. Why we can't release ex-governor Dailies' seized passport, immigration tells court.
Dailies was the governor how many years ago?
Donkey years ago.
Let me put it in the most polite manner that saves me the embarrassment of having to look for a lawyer. Even though I know that if Wahala boss, my friend Libros and GT,
they are there.
They are there.
All
one bed Digby. My brother is even there.
There for you.
I did body all over. Your name was in the Pantora. But jokes apart, all the least cases is to say the least embarrassing. He was governor of Rivers State for 8 years, and on leaving the state, handing over to his successor, he'd been having questions to answer with the EFCC. He went to court and got an injunction. Now, I need to be clear.
Yeah.
We got some kind of injunction that translated somehow to meaning that, they couldn't investigate him or whatever it is. And we've been battling that for the past, let's take 8 from 20. We've been battling that for the past how many years now? Sheriff. That's 13, 14. Yeah. Anyway. So there's been a law. Then the immigration service wakes up as soon as he turns up at the airport coming from the UK. They seize his passport. He takes them to court, and now the immigration says that for the first time, after he must have been going back and forth, they realize that he has questions to ask, that the EFCC have placed him on a watch list. Now, the EFCC should tell us, what is the state of his case? Are they now ready to prosecute? Is the EFCC now ready to prosecute? This is the most embarrassing court case, that I've, not even a court case really, corruption issue that I have seen. Some people have gone to jail and come back. His case is still in the process. Now, the question you ask is, if he's found not guilty, no problem. If he's found not guilty, the question is that he, at the back of his mind, he's been under trial for how many years? If he's found guilty, is it now that he's going to start a jail term for that's if it's conditional? This is an embarrassment, and I thought that the APC government would have corrected this in the 6 years of their existence. But it always shows up like this. And there are other stories that, of course, we can't say on air, other insinuations that people do have about, especially about the Dailies case. But it's not for me to mention. Like my people will say in Jakara Market, it is not from my mouth.
That what?
You would dot.
Fill in the gap of it.
You fill
Okay.
You fill in the gap.
Well, let's take another story from page 9. This story says, Reps to Buhari don't make 469 National Assembly members suspects in alleged terrorism sponsorship.
Yeah, one of the reps got embarrassed in Ghana because he was treated as a suspect. And when he huffed and puffed and couldn't blow the house down, they told him that, look, your own president has said that some members of the National Assembly are sponsoring terrorism. How are we sure you're not one of them? It happened to him in Ghana. Yep. He said he had gone for a wedding, and that he faced the Ghanaian officials. They detained him for about 4 hours. Well, you see how these things work out now. The president who made this assertion should have jolly well gone ahead and told the chief of staff to release the names of the suspects to the media. But we haven't heard anything like that, and it's quite unfortunate. But I think it's good that members of the National Assembly should have a taste of these things to let them understand the value of rhetoric in public space. So I'm glad he went through this. I don't feel too sorry for him. I'm sorry. It's good for them. No, I don't feel. I mean, I'm not saying whether he's right or wrong. Yeah. But I don't feel sorry for him, because it's good for them to get a feel of how top government officials can create problems for others. So yes, because with this, I hope he will turn this experience around and use it to now start to agitate for the well-being of his own people. Who was the honorable, sir?
Honorable Ben.
Honorable Ben. Ben, what is? It can't just be Ben. There are so
something.
many Ben. Ben Rowlands of Igbakpa. No, Ben Rowlands Igbakpa, representing Ethiopia Federal Constituency of Delta State. I don't sympathize with him. I don't. I'm sorry.
It's unfortunate, really.
Do you?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You are not coming out of that box until you say something.
I know, but I don't know.
So just say no comment.
No comment.
You know, no comment is very heavy.
No comment.
Oh, no comment to the fact that no comment is very heavy.
Yes, no comment.
No comment.
No comment to everything. Let's go to the Tribune. Let's speak. If you're watching online, you're welcome. We're on Facebook and on YouTube, so you can watch live and drop your comments there as well. Okay, let me take this comment. Something Associates on YouTube says, what is our military intelligence doing? How can they not figure out the source of these arms? How can it be that the military or DSS can't get to the people behind this terrorism? Is talking about the sponsors.
Well, I'd like to burst his bubble a little bit. Because of the way we've handled our security situation and our security forces.
Yeah.
It is going to be difficult for anybody to come out and beat his chest that a large percentage of our security officials are loyal. It's going to be difficult for anybody to beat his chest.
Yeah.
What you will find in the security forces, unfortunately, from the way we've handled things, is that some of them might just be in the job to get their 30 days pay and move on. Some of them might have sympathy, understandably so, with these so-called terrorists or whatever that we are talking about. So the problems are deeper than you would think. They're much deeper than you would think. And I'll let you know that one of the greatest tactics ever is misinformation. Remember, we had a history in the time of Jonathan, I think, when it was said that some Boko Haram, whatever it is, handed over the plans for an advance to back again to our own. So that is this what you plan to come and do on Wednesday or Thursday? So if you have, and that is why we call for balancing in the security architecture at the top, so that everybody has a sense of belonging.
Right.
If we keep calling for what would appear to be a balance at the security architecture at the top, but these things fall on deaf ears. So you can judge. These people are human beings. They go to the same market. They listen to radio. They listen to TV. They hear your comments. So some of them with the knowledge that they have, are even angrier than you. So what we have is rumors here and there. Some of them know the real. So you are going to have a bit of sabotage here and there when it comes to information. And information is what security lies on. That is what security lies on.
I agree.
Information and loyalty.
I agree. Intelligence is quite important. We're going to take this one before we go. We're out of time. Undergraduates studying education to get 75,000 naira per semester. Federal government.
Well, because we don't have much time, I can't give. I think if you remind me, Madam, if you remind me on Friday, we'll take up this issue. But very quickly, what I think we should do is, one, we should have a better admission policy for education, where it is always at the bottom of the ladder. If you can't go through law, you can't go through mass comm, you can't go through this, you can't go to that, and take him to education. No. Two, if we have dead serious, education should be completely free. If you study education, the government should encourage you, one, by making education free. And two, by giving you guaranteed employment when you finish. This 50,000 naira is neither here nor there. For those of us who have had parents in school, we know this is a drop in the ocean of how much you're going to spend. Let the government sponsor education. Let it be completely free. And it has happened before. It has happened before. Remind me on Friday. I will break down these things for you, what a 500 naira bursary could do. Lagos State government didn't have bursary. They had free scholarship. Why can't we have the same for education? Because that's the bedrock. But you take the worst. I heard you play back some, with due respect to some of them, I heard you play back play back some interviews this morning
Okay.
at 5:30. You don't know that I'm awake to monitor you. I had to play back. And you could see, we don't put our best steps. Wouldn't it have been good to have a GT as a principal of number one school? I also went to King's College in my own time. They paid next to nothing. And they've been able to produce the Sanusis, the Awodeins, the Itwa Igodalos, and so on and so forth. Until we have that mindset,
Yeah.
until we have this mindset that my children don't have to be work in banks and work in banks and telecoms and whatever. Or if they want to work in government, work in CBN and work in customs and so on and so forth, we're not going to go far. So make education free, give guaranteed employment. That look, we'll employ you, but you have to work for us for maybe the first 5 years or whatever, and then we can move on from there. But it's a baby step, really. That's where I have run out of gas.
Yes, we have to go now.
You put me on overdrive.
Sorry. I didn't want to take it, but it's okay.
No,
I actually think that
I'm sweating internally. I'm sweating. Now you've taken the wind out of my sail. I do not have enough energy to do the Abomi.
You do it too. You will have the energy.
You know that Chinedu and Mrs.
Fashanu,
they are going to wear boxing gloves this morning. It's going to be
fantastic.
You need to watch it on YouTube. Don't just go and watch it on YouTube. We'll try and keep them apart, but we'll see how far we can go with that.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming.
Okay, Charlie.
We must go now. The news is next. Lagos. Good morning to you.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info.